All right, welcome to session 5 in Unit 10. This will be our final session in Unit 10 on cost management. Essentially, this session we discuss an integration of job order costing with ABC costing. Activity-based costing increases costing accuracy by focusing on the cause and effect between work performed and resources consumed. We've talked about this in general terms. What we want to do now is relate this to the costing of individual jobs, as discussed in the previous session, for example, wheeled coaches. This diagram really summarizes the concepts we want to cover in this session. Essentially, it shows not one source of indirect costs. That would be the third box on the left, production, where, yes, we have direct costs such as direct material, but then we have factory overhead. In prior sessions, we've talked about how factory overhead can be split from a single traditional overhead cost pool and broken out into 2 or 3 smaller cost pools, each with their own individual cost driver. What we're moving to now, looking beyond this, we're looking beyond production and looking at other activities a company might perform. As you read your textbook, you'll see this diagram, and technically, this diagram relates to a story about Dell computers. Initially, Dell computers, as they were producing different lines of computers, they were tracing the materials and the labor involved for each line of computers, but they were using a single overhead cost rate to add on to the cost of a line of computers. Clearly, to make money, you have to cover the materials, labor, and all the overhead before you make a profit. So that was Dell's initial reasoning. As in any other company, we want to cover materials, labor, and overhead. What Dell recognized is that different lines of computers, computer line X versus computer line Y, maybe laptops versus desktops or standalone computers, consumed different resources, consumed them in different ways. So they identified multiple sources of overhead, not just factory overhead, but as you see in the diagram, research and development cost, product design cost, skipping production, going to marketing cost, distribution cost, and customer service. And so what they ended up doing is identifying these 6 activities, identifying the costs associated with those 6 activities, and developing allocation rates for each of the 6 activities. The end result is that if a particular product line, such as a laptop, requires more time at the product design stage, then it's going to get more of the product design cost. On the other hand, if another computer line, such as standalone desktop computers, require less effort, less time in the product design, that product line will get a lower amount of the product design cost. Skipping down to customer service, we might see the reverse. A particular line of computers, because of the way it was designed perhaps, ends up requiring a lot of customer support. Therefore, that line of computers should be charged more, should be charged for the customer support, versus another computer line that goes smoothly, very low customer support is required. That computer line will be charged some computer service support, customer service support, but not as much. Okay, so this is essentially the idea for this session, that we can take activity-based costing and translate it into a job environment, identify major activities performed, identify a unique allocation rate, a unique uh, dollar amount for allocating the indirect costs in that activity, and then allocate it, apply it, if you will, allocate it to uh, individual jobs or individual product lines. All right, that is the conclusion of Unit 10, and I appreciate your listening. Thank you.